right, and we are back at it again with the unplanned video. So welcome. This is FlowState OS Lite. The dashboard is finally functional. It took a minute to get this together, so I'm really happy to bring it to you, and I can't wait to hear just your thoughts and all the different ways that we can make this better over time. But I'm not gonna ramble. We're just gonna get to it. I'm gonna show you just a little rundown so you can see from top to bottom what you're looking at, everything that you can expect. And if you have any questions, just shoot me a comment, shoot me a message, and I'll be happy to help figure anything out. So first off, when you get in, the way that the flow is, okay, you can see, you can have your banner at the top. You feel free to customize anything that you see here to your liking, because obviously you want to get in your own zone. But my idea here was flow state and being able to live a life predominantly in your flow state. But when you come to do certain top level actions, say you need to get organized, you can just come to a place and have that top level bird's eye view. That way, it kind of helps to make sure that you're moving efficiently and your actions are intentional and calibrated. So as you start to get here, you'll see you can put your quote, little something at the top. Obviously, we gotta have when you come to your daily dashboard, you gotta have some hustler motivation. You gotta have something that really lets you know, like this is the theme. So you have a theme here that you can play with your current theme, and because these are all like currents. You have your projects current, you have your navigation current. These are all currents of time as you look at it. And so you can ride the different currents, and on these different currents, it'll bring you on a stream, so you can see through the stream of the projects. You'll also be able to see a stream of tasks, and the tasks will also have a stream of resources that are connected to it. So it all trickles down. So from the top here, we have our navigation, the life planner, your health and wellness, your lifestyle, finances, and the databases. So with the databases here, I just want to make a caveat. When you see the databases, do not delete the databases. God dang it, don't delete these, because if you delete them, all will break loose. Okay, so I just want to save you some headache, save you some trouble. Um, don't You probably won't even need to go in and touch those like that, because everything that you see here is interconnected. And so when you see an area, so let's say you see an area like productivity and projects, so we'll click into that, right? And this is a dedicated page, a dedicated area, with a customized dashboard for this specific area that you need to dip into. So when you see when you gotta all right, you gotta get in productivity mode. It's a time where, look, you gotta, okay, say there's a deadline, there's a project, something's coming up. You dip into the focus. You can have some focus inspiration. You can have your tunes on the side. You can have a little pomodoro timer, just in between tasks, like, okay, I'm gonna do 25 minutes on this, 25 minutes on that. Take a little break, stretch, move around, get active, being in front of the computer and everything. You know how it is. Gotta watch your spine, especially your lower back and things like that. Because if your spine is messed up, it'll throw off your entire system. The vertebrae and everything are linked to different body systems, and so much can happen. I'm not gonna get into the whole health breakdown right now, but what I want to say is having a certain flow for yourself. Things like being able to see your goals just readily available. And when you have goals, being able to make sure that those goals are measurable. So you can see on the side right here, we have your current, this is the target, and this is the progress. So eventually, if you want to get rid of these, you can actually just, so let's say if we, all right, we set these, and let's set our current. So for one of these, so okay, in an example, because these are just examples here. If we had like get a new car, right? This might make more sense in, the car is $20,000, right? Just $20,000 car, all right. And our current is, say, let's say we're saving, it is $10,000. Okay, so it's gonna say, hey, we're at 50%. So you can see right here, okay, 50%. But if you want those numbers at the bottom right here, so we're gonna do this real quick and we're gonna pop out of here. There you go. And then you can just see like a clean just bar. Sometimes it's a little bit more aesthetically nicer. I'm an aesthetic hoe. I tell people like, look, yo, it's got to be looking right. Um, but once you do that, you can start to visualize your goals on a daily basis. So if you want to do goal setting, you can flip into the different view right here and just set your goals. That way, it might be a little bit easier doing it from a table like this, and then you can come back and you'll be able to see your progress at all times. So, and goals achieved. So yes, play around with that. Um, we have your task, your project planner, and Pomodoro. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back because I wanna get to some of this other stuff. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot here. So I want to show you just a preview of the different pages, and we will dip into some of these as time allows. So you can see you have your planner, your to-do list, routine, vision, daily planners, yearly planners, things like that. Things like fitness, skincare, dream log, place to keep your meditations. Which is super important. If you're trying to actually stay disciplined and track the different techniques that you're working on, on a daily basis, like repetition is so important, and being able to have that. Just having a dedicated space for that, and also if you get lost, we have instructions, so don't feel like you're just out here you know trying to figure it out. Definitely want to make this the most helpful. I know how Notion could be. Notion is one of the apps you get into it and get so lost in it that you just like, you overthinking things. You don't want to overthink things. So that's the reason I built a lot of this, so that you won't have to keep building all of this and starting from scratch, or we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We want to, like, there's that phrase, what is it? Standing on the shoulders of giants. Like the people who came before you, like, establish a place where you can come in and you can go much further because your starting point is much further. So, you know, I just wanted to infuse that idea and those concepts into the dashboard here for people who come along at different points in their journey. So yes, you have your current theme, and you can see this anchor there because this is what anchors you on a daily basis. As you're treading through the waters, getting to the flow state. So we see projects, navigation, current tasks. Under here, you also have a habit tracker. So this is real sneaky. You can just scroll past, but and as you can see at the bottom, you can stick your playlist, stick your calendars here, so you can see what's divvied up by your tasks, your projects. And also, I did make a differentiation just because I know a lot of us, when we're moving into the professional realms and things, we need to keep track of our personal projects, and then we also have our business projects, which is different. Like sometimes you gotta have different brains for that. So we got different calendars for that, and also for your meetings and for your business meetings. Now, all of these things you can unify and bring into your managing calendar right here if you have the Notion calendar app. But if you're not using the Notion calendar app, this will simplify it so that way your calendar doesn't look super cluttered. You can just flip to a different view that's filtered specifically for what you need in that moment. So just a little something. So this is the main dashboard. I know I'm moving kind of fast, so I'm gonna try to slow down and make sure that we go at a good pace here. But this is the main dashboard here, and as I scroll down, you'll also see on the side here you have your habit tracker, where you can have like a main habit, or you can have different habits, and you can track how many of them that you're doing. You can see your daily habits. So I'm like, okay, did the thing, didn't do the thing, did the thing a lot, did not do the thing a lot, never did the thing at all. we'll take out Starbucks altogether and just make it like a local coffee shop. Actually, you know what? No, we don't want no local. Cause we like support local business. Yes. Okay. Love that. So let's say we did that all week, and you can see the bar over here go up to 100%. So if you want to reset the week, go like that. Boom. Easy. So one thing on the side here. So I try to collapse a lot of things in the dashboard so that way you don't always have to be looking at everything all at once, because that would be the worst feeling to come in here and just feel like, oh, what? It's so like, keep your stuff organized, keep it clean. So that's why a lot of these views are here. So if you see like at the projects over here, you see there's all, and so all the views that you see. So when you pop in here, like with projects, you'll see all. With tasks, you'll see all. With resources, it's a little bit different, but all is right there. We can even move it right there for y'all. So if any y'all get the template, you'll be able to see just all the updates we're doing in real time here in these videos as we freestyle. These are not scripted. This is not like GPT did not write this. This is just me talking to you from person to person. We got the dashboard. We're trying to make it the best that it can be. That way you can get your ideas out, get the things that you're creating and trying to build your gifts, your skills, bring them out into the world with less barriers, which is definitely the ethos of Flow State here, is eliminating those blocks so that way you can finally flow. Now, you see your habit tracker, we got resources. So these are for every day as you're finding things, you're moving and grooving. You see things on the internet, you see things in real life. You might have a book, you might have a quote, you might have something that came to you, and having a place where you can just quick snipe the resource, bring that in. That way you can look at it later and be able to use that. This right here, what you're looking at is the pin. So I like to do a lot of times, you'll see like a pinned view. So when you see this symbol right here, that little pin, that's all that means is when you click that, it's gonna be showing up on the pin view. So over here, you see it's pinned. So in the all, that's why we're only seeing this one. It don't even have a name yet, but it's pinned, so it's over here. So go like that, it shows up. But if I go like that, you don't see it no more. All right. Now, just something to keep in mind, because a lot of times as you're working and you get like a lot of different things going on, you're gonna get to a point where you're like, all right, I need to have it sorted. We gotta get some straightening going on up in here. So you click the pen, and then anything is self-explanatory. Anything that you want readily available when you hop in and you're like, okay, let's get back to this, pin it. So that's the same with resources, that's the same with tasks, and that's the same with projects. And what you can do is so cool. You can do this like umbrella effect where you've got the tasks that belong to the project and you got all of the things. So I'm not gonna get super deep into it. We might make it like a video where we can go more into the uses of that, but I want to show you that that's here, and give you a sneak peek of what you can do with that. Now, off to the side, right? Off to the side, you look here, you're gonna have your archive. You're also gonna have a space for if you got people's birthdays, you gotta just send birthday love. If you got family, friends, click on these. So when you need to get some more views, just click on those. So a lot of times with these views, you'll see, hold on. So you can see you have your projects in the first quarter of the year, second quarter of the year. I'm jumping around a little bit, but I want you to see certain functions because when you see these, it'll open up more of what you can do. And there may be times where you only really need to like come in, work for like 5 minutes in one view, but to know that they're there, to know that you do have these other views is definitely important, because it's always good to have a way to stretch your thinking, especially if you're working with a lot of these tools, and AI and things like that. And you don't have to be using AI to use this specifically, but if you want to add on that kind of stuff, if you want to build with that type of stuff, you don't want to be like having the whole GPT brain rot thing. Like you want to like test yourself, challenge yourself to build your neurons. Actually, real talk, because we're living in a time where you can easily just offload that and become like a vegetable, like a zombie. Like, come on now, like you keep your personality, keep your character, keep your what makes you you, but also use the tools here and use them like responsibly. Great power comes great responsibility. You already know. So we're gonna get back to it. That's just my little 2 cents right there. Get right before you get in front of the black box. But understand, all of this here, you are a being that has come to alchemize this. So make sure that, look, you just trust that you got your stuff right. Um, on the side here, hold on, I'm over here getting blown up. I gotta put the phone on silent. Um, So over here, right, you got your navigation. These are all views specifically. So like you can even see like you ready, you got some products, you're like, okay, I need to keep the management going on. Like me, I got an Etsy store, I got different things. I've been doing e-commerce and things, but having a place where you can keep your products, you can keep track of things. You wanna, all right, let's add something to it. I wanna add a cover, I need to add mock-ups, I got the link, you know. Having a universal place where you can do that, super important. Just because honestly, it's look, when you're building out in the world, it's almost inevitable. Like at this point, if you want to start making money and things like that, you're gonna want to have some sort of products. Um, and a lot of times we can make a lot of these dashboards. We don't have these things in mind. We're not always thinking about this unless it's like a CRM type of deal. Which we hold on. You know what? I'm gonna just stop right there. I'm gonna stop right there. Um, in the finances section. So if you want to start tracking your finances, there are some bomb calculators in here. So you can hold on. We got the balance calculator. We you got your goals over here. So this is dashboard specifically for this. So you can do your expenses, different things. Even go ahead put you got a little wish list. Like I'm trying to get the Hydrolux Ultra. I'm trying to get the molecular hydrogen bath bombs going on. Like put your motivation. Go ahead, customize it like you want to do it. But you can use this, and you can see at the bottoms here. At everything here, you're gonna be able to see the sums, income, starting balance. So this is a calculator, so you can go in and change things. Um, and anything, like I said, anything that looks confusing, go ahead, just open that up, and it'll give you the rundown. So let me go back because that's not even what I was gonna show you. It's not even what the business OS Lite. So this is where it gets heavy. All right. I'm not gonna go super deep into this, but I just want to scroll down. You got your quick buttons on the side over here. You got your 101, goes pretty deep. Go ahead, put your hustler motivation. Um, you can have your goals right here, business check-in. So obviously, if you're gonna be working with products, you're gonna be working with your CRM and different things. Having a place to just be like, okay, I want to. This is where I can, plan my business is very important. These don't have covers, but if, for instance, I did have covers, you could put your logo or something like that. Different views and things. So I'm gonna close that, and products, same deal. Products is actually just looped right in. That's in this page. So you don't really have to go to the products page if you don't want to. But if you want to come here and you just want to like, okay, let's do some updates, and update my goals, update business check-in, update products right here. Boom, boom, boom. So that's before you even get into the dashboard, right? That's when you just like, all right, look, I'm just popping in. I need to make some updates. We got everything calibrated. Then, you know, that's when we can go like, okay, this is daily ops, daily operations. Let's hop in. Save resources. So first off, workday starts. I'm gonna look at some of the things that I got going on, see what I can pull from things that I've been inspired by. And these are all going to be sorted by, so you can see, sorted by the type of resource. So if you do make another type, so say like, say this is not a learning resource right here, and this is the video help guide that we are in currently. So let's say this is what is it? It's called it's it's called a this is it's a link, you know. But you can see how it changed to link, right? Now if I change it again, it'll change to SOP. Now if I had a whole nother, so let's add another resource, and this one is a document. You see it adds to the documents, and you can see the number of them in there. So I'm gonna close those up and collapse that. Like I said, you don't need to be looking at too much. Keep your mind clean. Your space is your mind, you know. So definitely keep good. What is it? Good data hygiene. There we go. So underneath, this is the CRM. So if you guys are actually doing business on like maybe not like an enterprise level, but just maybe your personal you're doing your own personal business, or you got a small team like 1 to 3 or something, startup, or you're freelancing, something like that. This could be really useful to you. So you can see in here right off the bat, this CRM, because you're using Notion, it already can integrate with other things. So you can see that if you have other apps, you can start to like integrate it in a way where you can even add new dimensions to this. But for the sake of this, since we're just talking about Notion, I'm gonna keep it all in Notion, and I'll show you what you can do here with the visualizing the data. You can visualize by status. So for instance, you know, in this case, we had new leads that were coming in, right? And you're like, okay, where are these leads coming from? So you can use these to keep track of the ones that you would be keeping track of manually anyways. Otherwise, if you were using this in a way where there's actually we'll go straight to the database. So I'll show you real quick. In the database, I did put some forms here. So let's say you have a client that signs up. Now, what this is what you see in the back end, but what they see in the front end, you can customize this too. So you want to change that. But over here, you know, you would be sending somebody a form, or they would see it on your website, and they could put in all different information here. You can see, and eventually you would be able to see that. So when the form is submitted, it would show up here in your list, and that would make things a lot easier. And then what's even cooler, now that Notion got the map function, so say you got, look, I'll show you an example. Say that it's an event, right? So we use this when we're running like a webinar or like a call or a meetup, that type of thing, right? Now somebody's doing this. We'll go preview here. All right, somebody's doing this, and they might put in like where they're coming from. So you might be like, okay, look, it is, you could be coming from Delaware. That's random. No, but we're just gonna leave that. But when you do that, eventually you can visualize that on the map, and you'll be able to see these dots around the map. So let's say you had clients, you had people you was working with, or companies you were working with, or different vendors you were tapped in with all around the world. You would actually be able to see that all around the world. Yes, yes. All right. Now, Notion Maps is pretty cool. Notion Maps is actually really, really cool. So if you haven't, you see I'm over here diving into the water. Let's go to Argentina real quick. Just go check on whatever happened after World War II, and the Hitler, and then the people going to the. All right, so yeah, let's go in, and as you go in further, you can actually see more. So the map will fill in. It's actually really cool. But you know what? This is kind of a sidetrack mission. So I'm gonna go back to the dashboard just to keep us on time today. And we'll go back, and I want to show you just a couple more things, right? So when you hop into your daily tasks, because this is really important, most of the times when you get to the dashboard, you're probably gonna be starting with your tasks or your projects. Some of this here that you see is definitely going to be very useful, and different scenarios, and what you might need throughout, like, if you're keeping track of your books, just some book recommendations here. Um, Definitely check these out. And you know what I might do before I don't no. We're gonna all right. So I'm going back. You can see. Hold on. You want to keep track of your entertainment. Some things to watch, things to keep up with. Um, because hey, look, I'm a person. I love the arts. I love watching things that inspire me and sharing that with my friends. So being able to have a way where you can, you know, plan and keep track of things that inspire you is very important, especially as a creator. If you're a creative being and you're watching this, and you're also trying to see how you can balance maybe that right brain and that left brain together, so you can really get the best of both worlds in your life. Um, yes, that's what this is for. This is where that has been birthed from. And what was I gonna say? All right, so let's take a look at tasks real quick, because the tasks normally are sorted by priority. In this instant right now, as we're looking, there's no priority. There's nothing. And if we want to go and add a priority, we can do that. So let's say this is priority number one. So now, as you see that, um, it's only showing you what has been created. So in this case, we created number one priority, right? This is this task right here. So anytime we want to say, I'm like, okay, you know what? Take that, and I actually want to drag that up into priority number one, because that's definitely really important right now. So you can just drag that. So, but if I'm like, you know what, this is actually priority number three now, then it'll be all the way down there. So you can play with that, and when you come back, it'll help you actually organize what needs to get done, what's most important, what's most pressing, and what can wait. To really understand the order of how you do things in your life, which is extremely important, because sometimes it's not always what we do, it's how we do it. So you can, really dial in your priorities, what you need to be doing today. And this will be also linked to, like, if you have a task that's scheduled for today, it'll show up today. So, you know, that's what you'll be seeing. And anything that you don't need to be seeing, so if it's not relevant to today, it's not, it'll just be. And you can see also, as I hover over these, it'll tell you, some of them are very obvious, like priorities, but it'll tell you more information if there's more information. So I did try to make sure that I included little descriptions and things. Some of them I even like hand wrote, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not always AI. But it's different things that I felt like as I went through the workspace, like if this was something that would be helpful to you, I try to also make sure and include that. So projects here. So when you open these, a lot of times you can see I have some things that are uncollapsed. So when you leave it uncollapsed, it'll be like, you come back and it's looking like that. But you can collapse it back, to keep it neat, And in here, let's say I started a brand new project. I'm like, I want to start with the project playbook. Give me something to just like run with. Press that button right there. Press that button, and then it'll give you. This is kind of like my breakdown of, like, if you're starting a project and you really want to just have a organized, like, template default thing to work with. This is the general idea of, like, if you fill this in like a little worksheet, like we're in school, like super, just fill it in. You'll love yourself later. It's not too complicated. This is kind of like the happy medium balance that I found, where um, it makes it feel tangible and you're not going overboard, because this is really to help you be able to have that micro and that macro perspective in your thinking. And so, hold on, check it out. So I did include some team resources for you guys. So say this is not a solo project. Say this is, you got a few people that you want to work with. You can actually open up this team resources, and there's some things where, like, say you need to, like, keep track of, like, okay, this is my team. Like, this is what we are doing. This is where we are. There are some project, responsibility matrix, worksheets, and like info interactive things here. I don't have all the right words, but this is it helps you get things together, so that way you're not kind of just like lost with a bunch of people. You can actually stay organized and stick to the plan. So this is just some stuff you can play around with. You don't have to use it, but and a little message from me to you. So read that when you have time, as you like. That's how you set up a project. And if I want to have a task connected to this project, literally just you just move over here and just let's add a task. Let's start with this button here. I like to start with the button because the button got the presets. So obviously, if I'm gonna make a business task, I want to be making it with the business task preset. Otherwise, if I'm using like a general preset, it might not have all the stuff that, like the special sauce that I added on each one. So, business task, because we're getting a business, right? So, what are we doing? All right, so we just opened up a new task, and this is a business task, and this is going to be in the task database here. You can see it right there. It's priority number uno, and as you can see, we can close out of that. If it's done, say I finished the task, just click done, and it'll disappear. There it goes. But there it goes. So I was about to say like, oh no, do I gotta fix it? What's going on? But hey, sometimes it be like that. Computer, internet, whatever, running a little slow today. But yes, so that is a brief overview of what we're looking at here. You can see if there's anything that you get stuck on, look at how it works underneath. It'll give you a little description, and also some buttons here. So if you want to get started real quick and you're like, okay, I kind of have an idea of what type of task that I'm looking for. These are some basic tasks that I feel like you'll probably want to do like repeating on a often enough basis that I figured I'd just stick them here for you so that way you didn't have to think about it too much. You could just get in with one that's already got some like presets and things you need. So as you get to the bottom, you see you got the calendar. We went over that. You can do your playlist. Went over that. You can have your goals, on the side right here. And yeah, with that said, like I said, there's a lot here. There's a lot to play with. It's going to be up to you to make it what it is. But I do hope that it eliminates whatever is standing in your way, and you're able to use it for the right reasons and the right purposes to make tangible, real changes in the world. So with that said, I'm going to take off. It has been a long night, and we are here, and we are, having a good time, being able to really look at some of these things that, it's like when you have an idea in your head and you spend so long on it, or you have a lot of different ideas and you're ready to just move on, you're ready to just let it go and release it to the world. That is where we are today, to live in the world of the things that we actually have built. So get those things out. With that said, much love. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. And let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to just, like I said, send a message or leave a comment. You got a free day, you got some free time. You want to look and you want to see something that is going to inspire you right off the bat, So that's what this is.